Continuing our breaking news here, pictures coming out of Uvalde, Texas. Right there, you can see the police response after this horrific shooting there at Robb Elementary School that happened this afternoon. And this is what we know. A gunman, an 18-year-old, walked into Robb Elementary School. 14 children were killed. One teacher was killed. There are many more injured right now in hospitals. The 18-year-old shooter who lived in the community is also dead. Students in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade attend this school, which is about 85 miles west of San Antonio. This is a very small community. There were some 600 young students that attended that school. We want to continue to talk about what happens now and how that family, these families and this community is coping. I'm joined by National Center for Victims of Crime and Crime Victim Attorney Michael Haggard. Michael, you and your firm represented some of the victims' families in the Parkland, Florida shooting. That shooting, we want to remind our viewers, 2018, 17 people killed, 17 people injured there. I just want to ask you first up here, what are your thoughts right now as this has happened again?
Well, you mentioned it 4 years ago, and I saw several of the parents today talking about the recoiling of their emotions. 10 years ago, Sandy Hook, 20 young children, the same ages, 6 and 7 years old. And everybody in America, hopefully tonight, when they're having the privilege of having dinner with their children, I hope they're saying, how do we stop this? Because we have to absolutely stop it.
And so you know what these families are going through right now. We have not heard anything about the identifications. Certainly right now, this is when families are learning whether their children are okay or were victims. So what advice would you give a lot of these families in Texas that are going through this right now?
It is just something, we don't have a word for it in our dictionary. We call people widows. You can be an orphan. We have no word for a parent who loses a child. And to this senseless pandemic, and that's what it is in the United States, we lead the world by far by death by gun violence. No one is close. We're now up to 400 million guns. At the time of Parkland, we were at 300 million. So they're really, these families and these communities, a small community like this, I'm sure will rally unbelievably around them. But I still have contact with Sandy Hook victims to this day, and it is something that not only will never escape these families, but this community.
Right. So you're involved with two just atrocious shootings that ever happened in this country, and this. Now everyone is asking why. Why does it still happen? We just heard from Vice President Kamala Harris speaking live there. When will we see action? And after dealing with these situations and working with families, do you have hope that there will be action?
You sit there and you say, well, we've done nothing. I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result. And that's what the United States has done. We haven't done anything. We let an assault weapons ban pass, just lapse. That was working. We've had 200 mass shootings this year. We're only at 145 days. So if we enact red flag laws, we ban assault weapons, we pass the background check law that is currently ready to go and be passed, we can make a difference. Will we eliminate everyone? No, we probably won't. But we've got to start. We can't do nothing and let this be a blemish on America's history. And that's what it is right now. No country in the world experiences this problem. There's not one.
And when you've talked with these students who've survived these shootings and you've worked with families, how do you think these young people that witnessed this today, whether they were hunkered down in their classrooms or running for their lives, we just don't know how the effects that this is going to have on them?
It's forever. I mean, dealing with all the Parkland kids who are now in college and some getting through college, it never leaves them. And I tell parents, it's not a matter of if a mass shooting is going to affect you or your family. It's a matter of when. Look at where this affects. It affects big cities, suburbs, and rural communities like the one today in Texas. So we can't outrun it. Unless everyone is going to homeschool their children and keep everybody at home all the time. We can't outrun it. And, March for Your Lives, these kids who've been through this is their normal, which is amazing. And I think they're the ones who are going to finally say, no, you failed us, the previous generations, but we're not going to fail the next generation. And that's my hope.
Well, the NRA is set to hold its annual conference this week in Houston, Texas, and there's talk of that not happening or changing where that will take place. But just the timing of that, what do you make of that about to take place there in the state where this latest school shooting just occurred?
Well, they should take ownership of the problem that they in part created. You look at Governor Abbott's tweet several months ago where he said that he was embarrassed Texas was number 2 to California in the amount of new gun purchases. Well, that didn't age very well. This is not a joking matter. This is not a Republican, Democratic matter. This is our children. If there's one thing we could please wrap around and agree on is how do we keep our children safe when they're just trying to learn? So I think the NRA should not only cancel their meeting, but they need to take ownership of the problem that they've created, that they fought against. Normal reforms that every country has that won't affect gun sales will only make things safer.
One last quick question. You say it should be a Democratic Republican situation, but it is. We just can't get past this being a political movement in our country, and it begs the question: how can we ever get past this?
Well, you have to the polls. I mean, the people who care about their families, who really care about life. Now, I'm talking about life that is 6, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds that are in 2nd and 3rd grade going to school and are in a massacre. If you care about them, you're right. You do need to vote for the candidate, which most likely will be Democrat, to replace the person who doesn't care about those kids. Because if you do nothing now, just like I said 10 years ago in Sandy Hook, you don't care about the kids. You can try to throw red herrings up that this person would have passed a background check and all these kind of things. That doesn't matter. We've got to be more restrictive. Just look at other countries. Look at what they've done, and we can follow suit and eliminate a vast majority of these and not have 40,000 gun deaths a year in the United States.
Yes, and today is a voting day in many states. It's a primary day right now, Texas included, something to think about when you think about the reasons that people vote in this country. Well, Michael Haggard, we really appreciate your insights on joining us right now on this very, very difficult day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.